Buenos días, me llamo Leanne Stewart y soy la directora ejecutiva de Kiwifruit Vine Health de Nueva Zelanda. Today I'm going to provide an overview of global threats to kiwifruit production. Kiwifruit Vine Health, or KVH, is the leading biosecurity organisation dedicated to supporting the New Zealand kiwifruit industry. We were established in December 2010 to lead the kiwifruit response to the PSA incursion. Since November 2012, we've also been the lead agency responsible for managing all biosecurity readiness, response and operations on behalf of New Zealand kiwifruit growers. Our vision is to have a biosecurity resilient industry, and our purpose is to support New Zealand kiwifruit growers and the industry to protect themselves from biosecurity threats. As well as working very closely with growers, we collaborate closely with Zespri, New Zealand kiwifruit growers, post-harvest organisations, and associated industries, such as beekeepers, pollen providers, nurseries, contractors, and the government department, the Ministry for Primary Industries. One of our key roles at KVH is to maintain a list of emerging threats and pathogens to impact New Zealand kiwifruit industry. We have a long list of over 120 pests and pathogens, which has been developed through scanning publications, connecting with our networks in the scientific community, our international connections, such as Carlos in Chile, and having other informal discussions. We've also been doing a lot of work recently translating Chinese literature, which is where kiwifruit is native to help inform our research program. We have prioritised the long list of threats to our most unwanted that you can see on this slide. These are the biggest threats to the New Zealand kiwifruit industry based on their likelihood of entry, establishment, and the impact that they would have to our country. We will now have a look at the most unwanted threats to the New Zealand kiwifruit industry, which are also relevant to other kiwifruit producing countries. Brown mummierated stink bug, or BMSB, has rapidly emerged as one of the most significant biosecurity threats to the kiwifruit industry worldwide. It is native to Asia and found in China, Japan, and Korea. It is a proven invader. BMSB is now present across 3 major continents. In 1996, it invaded the United States of America and is now found in 44 states. In 2007, it was detected in Switzerland and is now found in 35 countries across Europe. BMSB was also found in Santiago, Chile, which is the first population detected in the Southern Hemisphere. It appears to be confined to metropolitan Santiago, although there has been some detections in the northern regions. BMSB can hitchhike on inanimate objects such as cars and shipping containers, which are found on trade pathways from Asia, the USA, and Europe. BMSB has a very wide host range of over 300 plants, including kiwifruit. BMSB adults and nymphs suck on sap of leaders, young shoots, roots, and fruit. Adults are mobile and readily move from plants from early ripening fruit to ones with later ripening fruit. During winter, they shelter in houses and other protected areas. Eradication of BMSB is extremely difficult, and early detection is crucial for success. While traps are available for monitoring and are currently used in surveillance networks for early detection, they are not as sensitive as other traps, such as fruit fly, which is why public reporting is so important. As you can see from this picture, this illustrates some of the damage that is seen from BMSB to crops in the United States. As I mentioned, it was first found in 1996 and it became a significant problem in 2010. The main control method is chemical control, and it went from 2 to 3 applications per season up to 24 in some crops. Damage can be significant across different crops, up to 90% in apples and pears, 60% in peaches, and 40% in soybeans. Although BMSB populations have now settled, growers are still managing the pest through monitoring and using chemical applications. BMSB was first found in Italy in 2012, and by 2016 it was causing significant problems to a range of crops. This is much faster than what occurred in the United States. We have found damage on kiwi fruit, which is very dependent on the surrounding environment. For example, if a kiwi fruit orchard is surrounded by other crops, such as apricots, then population numbers and damage is higher. However, if kiwi fruit orchards are surrounded by other kiwi fruit orchards, damage and populations are lower. This is because BMSV prefers to move between crops, and kiwi fruit is not its favourite, so it will move from crops that ripen fruit at different times. Chemical control is used, but is difficult, especially with the reducing chemical options that are available in the European Union because of their regulations. Because of this, netting has become the primary tool for management. This requires fully enclosed orchards, having the sides down pre-pollination. Work is ongoing to understand how we can still achieve pollination with netting sides down. Another key pest to the kiwi fruit industry is fruit flies. There are 3 species of fruit fly larvae that have been identified as the most serious threat to the kiwi fruit industry. These are Oriental fruit fly, Mediterranean fruit fly, and the Queensland fruit fly. Each of these species has a well-demonstrated ability to cause serious production impacts to a wide range of horticultural species when established. Incursions of breeding populations can result in significant market access implications for kiwi fruit imports and exports, especially Queensland fruit fly, as this has a very limited distribution and is likely to result in implications across nearly all markets. New Zealand is fortunate to have country freedom for all 3 of these fruit flies. If you look at the map, many other countries have at least one fly present. Queensland fruit fly has the most limited distribution of these species and therefore can result in the greatest market access implications. Ceratocystis is a soil-borne pathogen, and it's considered one of the biggest pathogen threats to the kiwi fruit industry in New Zealand. In 2010, while New Zealand kiwi fruit growers were in the early stage of the PSA incursion, kiwi fruit growers in Brazil were fighting a different pathogen, which is quickly identified as Ceratocystis fimbriata. Over the following years, Brazilian growers reported significant losses as a result of this pathogen, with some orchards losing between 20 to 40% and up to 50% of vines with no known control options available. Brazil is the only country where this has been reported impacting kiwi fruit, but we know there are many other species of Ceratocystis globally that could impact kiwi fruit. Wilting is the first symptoms, with complete vine collapse occurring as quickly as 3 days after infection. Browning of xylem can be seen in infected vines, moving from canes to leaders, trunks, and even down to roots. There are no known control tools or management for Ceratocystis. Below is an article from 2020, 10 years after the first reports. It highlights that there's still a huge issue for kiwi fruit growers in some regions of Brazil. The area planted in kiwi fruit decreased by 54% in this region, from 130 growers to 80, and from 60 hectares to 40, due to Ceratocystis fimbriata. To date, growers are still reporting between 5 to 10% loss annually, with big gaps within the canopy. Replanting in the same soils can cause reinfection as this pathogen lives within the soil. For those that have stayed in the industry, the orchard yields have decreased by up to 50%. Moving to verticillium wilt, which is unfortunately a pathogen well known in Chile. In 2005, 2 years after the variety Hort 16A was first planted in Chile, some vines were found to be wilting and dying. By 2006, a significant number of vines were dead, and by the end of the following growing season, it was most affected orchards, up to 80% of the vines were dead. Most of you in the room will be aware of verticillium wilt, as it's likely to have impacted you or your fellow growers. Verticillium wilt is a soil-borne fungi that causes significant impacts to susceptible varieties. We know Hort 16A was a very susceptible variety, and other varieties of gold also haven't shown a high level of resistance. There is very little literature about this threat, so having connections with our offshore partners, such as Chile, are vital to understanding this threat and how we can be prepared for it. Phytophthora is another pathogen that we need to focus on. Phytophthora species are destructive plant pathogens. They are Oomycetes, which are fungal-like water molds, and they can be found in a range of hosts in horticulture soils. Early symptoms of Phytophthora include poor or late bud break, stunted cane growth, and small leaves. Later symptoms include yellowing leaves, cane dieback, wilting, rots at the stem base, and vine death. There are over 300 known species of Phytophthora, with thoughts that there are up to 500 more that are yet to be identified. Phytophthora thrives in wet soil conditions, so we might only know the impacts to kiwifruit when conditions are right. However, there's also things that we don't know about that could impact the kiwifruit industry. We call these the unknown unknowns because they're threats that we can't currently see and we can't trace. These threats might include emerging pathogens, which are new diseases or pests that haven't yet been discovered, unexpected mutations, so seeing changes in pathogens or pests that alter the impact or behaviour in unforeseen ways, and unpredictable interactions with new or unusual interactions between plants, pests, pathogens that we haven't anticipated, especially in newly invaded regions. So what are the things that we can do to be prepared as an industry? The New Zealand kiwifruit industry invests significantly as an industry so we can understand our biosecurity threats and the tools that we have available to reduce their impact if they arrive in the country. We have our own dedicated research funding partnership with Zespri. It's all about undertaking proactive biosecurity to build tools and knowledge that will help us be more resilient to biosecurity threats. In addition to national biosecurity research efforts, the kiwifruit industry significantly invests in developing tools to make sure that we can combat anything that might come our way. Our key areas of focus are developing a greater understanding of biosecurity threats to the kiwifruit industry, developing tools to reduce the likelihood of establishment and impact of biosecurity threats, such as having tools for diagnostics, surveillance, eradication, and management, and pathway analysis to understand where the gaps might occur within the biosecurity system, in collaboration with Zespri and the Ministry for Primary Industries. So in summary, biosecurity threats are global. They could impact all kiwifruit producing countries. It's important that we continue to learn from others and that we share information. Biosecurity is not competitive between countries, and if we share information, that means that we can all protect ourselves. And also we need to learn from the past. We have to make sure that we don't repeat the lessons that we've been through with other pests and diseases so that we can all be resilient for the future. Thank you very much for your time today, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your kiwifruit day. Thank you. Goodbye.